Alright, so today's video is how to fertilize a snake plant. We're going to be going over not just how to do it, but kind of the basics and the science behind it so you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. I would really appreciate also if you would consider subscribing. I am constantly trying to come out with great content for those of you who own houseplants or are into plants of any sort, and I really appreciate you guys subscribing and supporting my channel. Okay, so first things first, you're going to need your snake plant, obviously. You're going to need a measuring cup of some kind, a bucket to hold water in, and of course you're going to need a fertilizer. I use Schultz plant food. It is a 10-15-10, and we'll be going over exactly what those numbers mean, but it's basically the nutrients that you are going to be putting onto your snake plant. Alright, so going back to those three numbers, it stands for the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium within your fertilizer. It's the percentage of active ingredients found within there. They're found on all fertilizer bottles, and they're the three main macronutrients that your plant is going to be needing. So first of all, there is nitrogen, which is a major component of chlorophyll. It gives the plant its energy to kind of survive, and it contains what I call the greenness factor of a plant that helps it green up and have that nice color. That second number stands for the percentage of phosphorus in your fertilizer. Phosphorus helps with the roots, the buds, and the flowers, cell division, tissue production. It's really important for those plants that can flower, and actually snake plants can, it's just not very well known. Lastly, there's potassium, which helps the overall vigor of a plant. It helps the enzymes start working, and it helps regulate stomatas, which are kind of like those breathing pores on your plant's leaves. Now that we actually know what we're putting onto our snake plant with our fertilizer, we need to talk about how often we should be doing it. So of course, first things first, read the directions on your fertilizer to find out how much you should be adding to the water. And secondly, you should be fertilizing according to where your plant is placed and how much light it is getting. So my snake plant, it has quite a bit of light. It's right by a south-facing window, so it's growing rapidly, more so than it would if it was in a lower light situation. Because of this, I need to be fertilizing it more. So if your snake plant is in a low light situation, I would say maybe once or twice a year. But if it's getting a lot of light, maybe more like 3 to 4 times a year, you should try to fertilize it. And you should practice this rule with all of your houseplants. Other plants need more fertilization than just once or twice if it's in low light. But for snake plants, they are slow, they do well in low light, so they really don't need much fertilizing. Alright, so once you've put the fertilizer in, go ahead and mix it up with the water so that it's fully mixed in there, nothing sitting at the bottom or anything. I place my snake plant in the sink because it has drainage holes, and this allows the water to come out in a place where it won't damage any furniture or any carpet or anything. If you don't have drainage holes, I will say you've got to be really careful when fertilizing and adding water so that you do not add too much and water just sits at the bottom of your pot. But since I have drainage holes, I'm going to go ahead and just thoroughly soak the soil so that all the roots get a chance to absorb the nutrients, and I'm going to soak my snake plant until I see water coming out of the drainage holes at the bottom of my plant, as you can see right here. And just the last few things, this is a lot of water for a snake plant, so probably don't water it for about the next 2 weeks or so. And also the best time of year to be doing this is probably spring through early fall. Generally you don't want to be fertilizing in the winter because there are lower light levels and your plant is just growing more slowly and doesn't really need that fertilizer. But like I said, kind of follow that rule of if your plant is growing and getting high levels of light, it probably is going to be needing to be fertilized more often than it would if it was in low light. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope this was helpful to you in fertilizing your snake plant. Again, consider subscribing and supporting me and my family, and let me know how it went for you in the comments.